Christina Marie here. It is that time again. Monthly wrap-ups. I'm going to be doing my June wrap-up today. And it's a lot, you guys. It is a lot. I'm not even going to lie. I don't think I really turned on the TV at all this month, except to watch the Colbert Report and the Daily Show. That's it. But yeah, so I read a lot of books. A lot. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to separate them because there's different categories. There's the arcs from publishers that I'm going to go over first. Then there are my personal ebooks that I read, and then there are my physical books. So let's go ahead and do the arcs from publishers first. Now, of course, all of my arcs are digital, so I'm going to insert pictures in the screen so you can see what the covers look like, and then I'll just, go from there. So let's get started. The first book I read, actually the first 3 books I read were read at the end of May, but they were read after I had already filmed my wrap up, so I'm just gonna tell you what those were. The first one was Love for Beginners by Clements. This was just a contemporary romance. It was, I think it was almost a novella, almost. It is from, I think, the Love Under the Hood series or something like that. And I don't think it's the first one. I think it's the second one. It was okay. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was just, eh. The next one I read at the end of May is Her Dark Places by Killarney, I think. Yes, Killarney. This one was kind of like a suspenseful murder mystery, kind of, with romance to it, of course. And it was fairly interesting. I think I enjoyed this one more than Love for Beginners, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars, so not too bad. The third one I read at the end of May is Ready for You by J.L. Berg. This one was really good. I really liked this one. It was just a sweet, contemporary romance. It's the summer months, and so all the love. I'm all about the love. So I really liked this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Then the next book I read, and this was at the beginning of June, was Crave by Violet Vaughn. I really liked this one. This one was a story that I wasn't sure I would get into at first. It is a romance. It's about this girl who basically is trying to figure out what she wants. She finds out that the guy she's dating doesn't really want to have kids, and she's a big family girl, and that's her priority, is to have kids. So they break up, and she goes off on this trip to Colorado, this ski trip where she meets this other guy who has his own issues. And you just kind of see a story of what you originally thought you wanted may not always have been what you wanted, or you're willing to make sacrifices for love, that kind of thing. It was a really interesting story. Initially, when I was reading it, I was like, I'm not really in love with this. But by the end of it, I said, this worked. This really worked. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Chasing Forever by Lisa Cardiff. This one was a nice surprise for me. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did. It is honestly about forgiveness. Forgiveness is at the crux of this plot. Of course, love and romance and all that fun stuff, the sexy times, that is all there, but forgiveness is such a big part of this story. I really like how Cardiff just spun the story, wrapped it all up in a nice, pretty bow package. It was really nice, so I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Mad Love by Colet Abedi, I think is how you pronounce it. Abedi, I don't know. This one was okay. The male character was a little too controlling. The female character, while she was smart, she was still stupid at the same time. And I feel like you just need to get that formula right, and it just wasn't right for me in this book, and I just was kind of over it before it even started. So I ended up giving this book, I think, a 3 out of 5 stars. The next one I read was a novella by Lauren Blakely called Burn For Me. Love this. It's a firefighter story. I don't know if you guys know, but I have an obsession about policemen and firefighters, paramedics, that whole thing. Like, I love romances centered around them because in real life, their lives are pretty much not their own. They're on call all the time. Same thing with doctors, emergency doctors, stuff like that. I love seeing romance stories about them. I love showing having them get a lot of love, because I have like an eyelash that won't quit, because it's just so awesome to see like people whose lives are dominated by their jobs just get love. And so Burn for me is the story of a firefighter. While what I just said is not the center of the story, he's a firefighter, so I love it automatically. It was a really, really nice novella. I enjoyed the characters tremendously. Lauren Blakely can write schmexy time scenes as well as the next person. I just loved it. It was so much fun to read. Really short read. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was called Now or Never by A.J. Bennett. This one was about the military, a guy in the military who comes home and falls in love with his friend's sister. It was rather interesting. It didn't turn out the way that I thought it would, but it turned out well. I don't even remember how I ended up with this arc because it just kind of was a random, hey, read this. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. I fairly enjoyed it. I really think it was pretty good. It was better than I expected. So I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next one I read is called 2 Week Seduction by Kathy Lyons. So good. So good. If you guys can get your hands on this ebook, I guess it's just an ebook, so freaking good. I ended up giving this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. Yeah. And then the final arc I got is Perfect Kind of Trouble by Chelsea Fine, one of my favorite authors ever. I love that girl. We're friends on Facebook. And her personality definitely shines through in these books. She's just a really cool author to talk to. She's really insightful, and she's just really good at writing an excellent story that just makes you go, aw, yay, love it. And this is actually the second book in a series that she's writing. I loved it. Loved it. This is actually probably one of my favorites by her so far, and I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. So yay, Chelsea. So that's all for the arcs that I got this month to read. So let's move on to just my ebooks that I read of my own choice. I know there's only 2 of those. The first one is Tall, Tatted, and Tempting by Tammy Falkner. I've had this one for a while. I bought it off of Amazon a while ago, and I just finally decided to read it because somebody in Crown Over's crowd mentioned it. And I was like, I think I have that book. I should probably read it. And so I did, and it was cute. It was really, really cute. The male lead, he's a tattoo artist, and the female lead, she is a homeless musician. And they meet by whatever circumstances, and their relationship is really, really cool. You get to meet the male character's brothers. This is part of the Reed Brothers series or something. And it was just a really fun read. It was interesting. I wasn't bored at all. I really enjoyed that male lead. He's a special being. I can't remember his name, but I remember exactly what he looks like. He's typically not my cup of tea because he's blonde. I'm not one for blonde guys, but I envisioned him as a dark-haired guy, and we were set, babes. We were set. I ended up giving this book, I think, a 4 out of 5 stars. Then the second ebook I read is called Crash Into Me by K.M. Scott. I read that one yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it was pretty good. I don't necessarily think it was the best thing ever written. It's just one of those dominant male, not necessarily submissive women, but she's not as dominant as he is. She's not submissive at all, but she's not as dominant as he is. He's very controlling, dominant, you know, and every now and then that kind of thing is cool. But I like how he was written in this book, but I feel like things happened a little too fast for my taste. Like by the end of book 1, they were engaged to be married, and I just feel like they jumped the gun a little bit because there was a lot of explanation that I still needed as a reader. But there's still 2 more books, so I'm going to probably continue the series and see what's up with that. I ended up giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, let's move on to my physical books, the books that I will be holding up and showing you. I read quite a few of these, and the first book is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. Loved this book. It was absolutely phenomenal. You guys, I now understand what everybody was all hyped up about when it comes to this book. It was so good. So good. Karu is a kick-ass girl, and Akiva, I love him. I just cannot wait to see what happens in the next book, because that ending, when she found out what she found out, I was like, oh no, boo. But yeah, so I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was really good. The next book I read is The Perfect Game by J. Sterling. I told you guys that I was gonna read this, and I really enjoyed it. Jack, our main character, is definitely an asshole, but he's a lovable asshole, and he is who he is, and he's unapologetic for it. He can't not be who he is. I just really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed how honest he was. I also enjoyed how he called Cassie out on her BS. A lot of times she called him out. They balanced each other. I really appreciated the story. And I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars, because if you read my review, which I will link down below, there was a specific scene in here that just didn't work for me. So that docked half a point, or half a star. Next, I read the Fixed trilogy. This is 3 books here. Fixed on You, Found in You, Forever with You. I read all 3. I finished this book. It got a lot of love from me, and each book I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. It was as great as I thought it would be. I love Laurelin Paige. As you guys know, I will rally to death for this woman, because I just think she's phenomenal. Her stories are great. There was a lot of sexy goodness in this book. Hudson, oh my gosh. Hudson, so good, so good. Next, I read Forever My Girl and My Unexpected Forever by Holly McLaughlin. Let's talk about Forever My Girl. This is the first book in the Beaumont series. Yeah, the Beaumont series. This book was okay. I did not enjoy this book as much as I thought I would. I didn't like the couple. While it wasn't bad, the couple just didn't work for me. They were good together, but I just didn't really care one way or the other. I feel like Josie, our female character, and Liam, our male character, it was whatever by the end of the book for me. But I did like the story, which is the reason why I picked up My Unexpected Forever. I ended up giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but let's move on to My Unexpected Forever. This book is my favorite so far. Oh my gosh, Harrison. He is the lead in this particular book. He's a drummer in the band that Liam is the lead for. Oh my gosh, Harrison is everything in this book. He does not take your bullshit. The lead female, Catherine, I think is her name, she, you know, suffered some things, having lost her husband and whatnot. So she's kind of dealing with that while struggling with her feelings for Harrison. Harrison is not trying to, you know, be someone he can't be. He's not trying to replace a ghost. He's just trying to love this girl. And the way that he portrays those emotions to her, oh, so good. 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read the second book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. This is called Lover Eternal, and this was about Rage, which is another brother in the Brotherhood. And this was really good. It's my favorite color, blue. Sorry, it's kind of reflecting light there. But I loved it. It was fantastic. I read it so quickly. I love these vampires. They are so... oh, I just want them. I want them. This was a really good story. I cannot wait to get to the next brother with which I think is Zadist, I think. Is that his name? Oh, he's a dark one. I can't wait. 5 out of 5 stars. Next book I read is Better When He's Bad by Jay Crownover. I did a video review for this one, so I'm going to link that down below for you. And I also did a written review, which I will also link down below. This book was amazing. This is the start of a new series by Jay called Welcome to the Point. And it is really about an authentically bad boy, like the definition of bad, which is, you know, the synonym of not good. And he is a not good guy. He's not a good guy at all. And you don't like him because of some of the things that he did, or a lot of the things that he did. He deserved everything that came to him for the most part. But by the end of this book, I loved him. I loved him. He's a flawed human being that I just fell in love with. He is a bad boy. and I loved him. I loved the story. The female protagonist in this book, Dovey, is a kick-ass girl. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars, hands down. Okay, this book surprised me. This book really surprised me. You guys know that Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe is my #1 book of 2014 so far. This book here, The Sea of Tranquility by Katja Millet, is my second favorite book of 2014. No contest. This book left me reeling. It left me with all of the feels. It was a beautiful experience, a gorgeous journey of just love and forgiveness and suffering and healing and friendship. And oh my gosh, I don't even have the words for how impacted I was by this book. It was brilliant. I tweeted Katja Millet after I was reading, and I said, this was perfection. Words can't even describe how much this book has changed me. You know those books that just change you after you've read them. This is a book that has changed me. If you were to put Aristotle and Dante and this book together and make this euphoric, brilliant depiction of a story, I would probably die of the feels. 10 out of 10 freaking stars. 10 out of 5 freaking stars. Like, it was above and beyond everything that I anticipated it would be. I tried to savor how good this book was, but I read it too fast. And I read it in like 4 days. That is slow for me, but it wasn't slow enough. But it was so good. 5 out of 5 stars. Then I caught up on the Lux series, and I read Onyx, Opal, and Origin by Jennifer L. Armentrout, or JLA. Onyx was really, really good. I enjoyed it, not as much as Obsidian. It was a really good story. We're introduced to Blake, that bastard. I don't like fucking Blake. I didn't like him when he was introduced. Let me just say, Katie pissed me off in this book. The entire book. She pissed me off. I was not liking this book until Damon called her out on her bullshit at the end of it. And I said, oh, thank you, Damon. You saved this book for me. You saved it. Because she was being freaking stupid in this book. And I just was not okay with it. And I'm glad that he said it too. But still loved her when he was scolding her. 4 out of 5 stars. Let's move on to the book that bored the crap out of me for the most part. Opal. I didn't love this book as much as I thought I would. The only thing that saved this book was the ending for me because it was a huge cliffhanger. I was bored. I was bored. I didn't care. And my friend Kate from the fandomnews.net, she said, or the fandom.net, she said that you're suffering from middle book syndrome. This is middle book syndrome at its finest for me. I didn't give a shit at all in this book for the most part. Blake was still being Blake. And by the end of the book, I was angry at everybody. I just wanted everybody to just go in a corner. They needed to be put on timeout. I was so angry at everybody by the end of this book, but the end of the book is what saved it for me. And I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Then the final book I read for the month is Foreplay, which is the first book in the Ivor Chronicles by Sophie Jordan. This is Sophie Jordan's new adult book. The second book I think is called Tease. I checked this out from the library. I wasn't planning on reading this one this month, but the library emailed me and said, hey, it's available. So I went to pick it up, and look how short it is. It's like less than 300 pages. It's like 260 something pages. So I was able to read it in like one sitting. It was okay. It was okay. I really liked the male character, Reese. He was phenomenal. The female character, Pepper, she was okay, but she annoyed me more times than she didn't. But it was okay. The story was okay. Like, I don't really know what else to say about it. It was just okay. It was average for me. And so I ended up giving this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I will continue with the series because I do want to read Tease, which is not a sequel to this. It's just another set of characters that were in here get their main story in Tease. But I did love Reese in this book, our main character, male character. I loved him. He was a good guy throughout this entire book, and I enjoyed him a lot. And I wish I would have learned more about him and his story. Granted, we do get a little bit of a glimpse into what's happened to him, especially with him and his father and his brother. But I wanted more from that. I cared about Reese more than I did about Pepper. Because Pepper, for me, granted, she was a virgin. She was very naive to a lot of things. But she was basically using Reese. I'm not spoiling anything. It's all on the back here. She was using Reese to help her gain experience for this other boy that she had feelings for several years. His name was Hunter, I think, which is her best friend's brother. Hunter was boring to me when I met him right off the bat in the beginning of the book. I said, oh, this is boring. He is so boring. Ew. Hunter, Reese. Hunter, Reese. There's really not a competition here. But you learn why she gravitated towards Hunter in the first place. And I guess it makes sense when you think about it, but it's also stupid, which Reese points out in this book. So I enjoyed this book for the most part. It's not life-changing, or it's not something deep or anything. It doesn't change your worldview or anything. You don't look at the world a little differently from reading this, but it was entertaining. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. So those are all the books that I read for the month of June. It is June 27th, so I have 3 days left in the month, but I don't really see myself finishing anything. I am currently reading a book called Lost in Starlight by Soule, and this was a book that she sent to me at her, she requested me or asked me to read and review it, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I just started that book today. Grand total of things that I read this month, 26 pieces of literature. Technically, I read 22 books this month plus 1 novella, because 3 of the books that I read, that I talked about in this video, I read back in May. So I did still read a lot. Yeah, I didn't really watch TV. And just as a side note, can you guys please stop asking me how I can read so much? That's kind of like asking a basketball player how he can play basketball so much. And that's kind of like asking, you know, an accountant how he can, you know, work with numbers so much. It's our passion. It's what we love. You know, I love reading. I'm a reader. I'm a writer. I'm a blogger. It's what I do. So I make time for it. It doesn't seem like work to me, and it doesn't seem like something that's out of the ordinary for me, because it's what I center my life around. And I know a lot of people don't mean to be like insulting or anything when they ask me, how can you read so much? I don't think anything of it, because it's a part of who I am. It's what I do. So reading 20-something books a month is nothing for me, because I read all the time. It's my passion. Al Bailey, oh, he's about to chew my finger. So yeah, I'm not trying to be like sensitive or anything, but I kind of just want people to look at it through that lens. You're asking an avid reader, you're asking a book blogger, you're asking a writer, how do you read so much? How does, you know, an NFL player play football so much? It's passion, you know? So yeah, I hope that makes sense to you guys. But yeah, comment down below with any of the stuff you guys read this month. If you read any of the books that I read, let me know in the comments down below. Any videos that I filmed on these books or any blog posts that I wrote on these books will be linked in the doobly-doo. Do not forget, actually no, do forget, because the giveaway will be over by the time this video goes up. I had it, at the time I'm filming this, there was a giveaway going on, but don't worry if you miss it, another one will be coming soon. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Make sure you are subscribed if you are not, because that makes me happy. I'm slowly approaching 2K subscribers, and I will do something special. I promise. I promise. I promise. Also, if you guys are curious as to what books I'm interested in for the summer, or books I recommend, over my blog I'm doing a top 10 new adult reads, young adult romances, or young adult contemporaries, young adult paranormal, sci-fi, fantasy, that kind of thing, over my blog. So be sure to check out my blog for that kind of stuff. I'll probably turn them into videos too, so I might do them here on this channel at some point. But yeah, so I'm gonna go now. I'm talking too much. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace. Bye.